But we were wondering if there is a particular song that helped you to write a specific moment.
Yeah. With book 3, one of the scenes that you couldn't take out of the book, but it wasn't really there when I was working on it. I was in Forks actually with my sisters the first time I went, and I was listening to Hysteria by Muse on the radio, and the whole scene just choreographed itself in my head. Like every movement was in the steps people took. It was in the song, and so whenever I hear it, I see that scene. That talks to me.
Good tower.
When the book comes out, I'll be able to tell you what it is. It'll be interesting to see people's reaction when they know that that's the Hysteria scene.
Have you considered of doing a spin-off of Twilight about Alice or Jasper, Emmett, maybe?
If I did book 5 and 6, it would be with different characters. Edward and Bella would be side characters like Alice and Jasper are now. But the characters that I'm planning to write about, I don't think you would even, they're smaller characters now. I think it'd surprise you to know where that's going. So it wouldn't be any names that you would immediately be like, oh, Alice's story. It's Alice and Jasper and Rosalie and Emmett. I think enough of their stories are told that I don't feel a need to go back and write them. Maybe someday for a while, but that would involve so much research, and I'm kind of lazy, so it's easier to write things that are happening now than have to make sure all the facts line up right.
Okay, this is about fan fictions. The world of fan fiction is going up bigger and bigger. Do you think it's useful for a young writer, for a wannabe writer, to write fan fiction, or they should stick to their own stories and characters? Do you think it's useful for them to use the characters?
It's kind of difficult to say because it's new, and so I don't know how in 10 years will fan writers have become writers. Will that happen? I don't know if that's the right evolution. In one hand, I think any practice would be good, and plus you're putting your writing out there for other people to critique, and you're going to learn and grow as a writer. But it does seem a little dangerous to me to not be using your own characters. Plus, some of the effort that people put into these fan fictions, Alfie's The Lion and the Lamb, which I had to stop reading because she had caught up to where I was, and I don't want to be tainted at all. I mean, she's writing a book-length novel. The effort and the planning that goes into that, and she can never use it. She can never publish it or claim it as her own, and that seems terribly unfair to me. With that much effort, it seems like there's not enough reward for that. So I think that people, if they have characters to write about, that should be their focus. But if fan fiction had existed when I was reading, when I was 12, 13, and I was reading Anne McCaffrey and Dragon books, I probably would have written it because I think I would have gotten into that. So.
And what about Princess Bride?
Yes, my curiosity, because you mentioned yesterday the true love definition of Edward and Bella. Now, when I got Twilight and was reading it came into my mind the idea of Wesley and Buttercup love, and I thought that Edward and Bella love was probably true love like them. So
I think it's better than them. When I was in college, I did a lot of papers with a feminist perspective. It's an easy way to write, and so I did a paper on The Princess Bride. So I'm a little biased. The problem I have with Wesley and Buttercup's relationship is that Buttercup is an idiot and it doesn't bother anyone. All that matters is that she's beautiful. That is her only value. At the end, she does redeem herself a little bit, but the female characters are very weak in that story. Wesley's brave and smart, and he fights, and Buttercup's just beautiful, and that is her only claim. And the worst part is when she falls down through the quicksand, and he pulls her out, and he thinks possibly she's even brain damaged, but that doesn't matter because he'll still take care of her. Her brain means nothing. Her personality is nothing to him. So while they have the kind of love that they can't really live without each other, it's not a great example to me. I couldn't find one that I thought was a really good comparison. I tried. Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy in Pride and Prejudice. It's pretty good. Except you still think that if either one of them died, the other would just carry on bravely, right? And Romeo and Juliet were kind of idiots. They didn't think things through. They didn't know each other very well. Anne of Green Gables and Gilbert, I don't know if you guys know them, much more like Jacob and Bella. You know, they're friends for a very long time, kind of get on each other's nerves a lot. So I never could find, you know, a Bella and Edward that really satisfied me that way.
This is the power of the book.
Yeah, I wouldn't have written it if I wasn't completely caught up in the story, I think.
And then we have the one about, we were doing about, no, the survey, no.
No, we haven't.
We found a link on your website about Mormons. We read about eternal marriage. Is this in some way related to Bella and Edward love story?
The idea of eternal marriage? I think so. When I was writing the story, I wasn't thinking, oh, you know, how does my religion tie into this? But I've been religious my whole life, ever since I was, you know, a child. And it's just a part of how I think. So to me, real love should not end when you die. It should be something that you can claim each other forever. And that's a really important concept to me, the idea of forever and what comes next. The idea of eternal marriage is so beautiful. I mean, the idea that you can be sealed to someone else and you're with them forever and you belong to each other. I love that. And I think that really does subconsciously relate to Edward and Bella's love, which seems like, you know, one lifetime is not enough.
We are finished with our questions. We have another big favor.
Please, you know about these 5 girls